I brought up to him that he had never actually been the highest paid player on his team. He was tied as the highest paid player with Chris Bosh, but he wasn't the highest paid player. And he, like, his head snapped around and he goes, "That's an untold story." And he kind of went off on a rant about being underpaid, which he was underpaid.
For a sports person who is already worth over $1 billion, and for him to look at a potential paycheck of $47,607,350 in the upcoming NBA season alone, with another potential paycheck locked in worth $51,415,938 in the next season if he opts in with his player option, when you put these humongous figures in front of someone who isn't familiar with the commercial might of LeBron James, they really do sound astronomically high. But here's the funny part. Despite making all this money at age 39 and looking at a $50 million plus paycheck at age 40, LeBron James still might just be underpaid for his value and all that he brings to not one, not two,
not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven.
Yeah, three. It's 3 franchises for now. Surprised? Well, let us take you on an insightful journey of one of NBA's most jaw-dropping stories as we answer a fundamental question in this video. How in the hell is LeBron James NBA's most underpaid player? If we start putting things into contrast from LeBron's first day in the NBA and comparing it with someone like Victor Wembanyama, where the latter is projected to earn around $10.13 million in his debut NBA season, as opposed to LeBron James, who actually signed for a mere $18.78 million 4-year entry-level contract in his days, the comparison really would be unfair. So let's take it up a notch and ignore LeBron's Cleveland days altogether, where he was a young star on an otherwise below-average team, and move to his Miami Heat days when he actually made the controversial decision.
LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
To join forces and form perhaps one of the most dominant super teams of its time with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. The only problem? Despite being part of the most elite trident in the league, LeBron was paid well below the highest paid player in the league at the time, who was earning a staggering 71% more than LeBron James' salary at the time. Any guesses who that player was? Let us give you a hint. He was NBA's highest paid player until his retirement in 2016. Still nothing? Well, we're talking about none other than Kobe Bryant, whose contract numbers dwarfed LeBron's season after season after season. So much so that it took LeBron James approximately 13 years to become the NBA's highest paid player in a season. But to only add on to the misery of the king, that joy lasted only for 1 season. And that came immediately after LeBron James had won a historic championship with Cleveland, following which he made $30,963,450 in the 2016-17 season. Because since then, it was his arch nemesis at the time, Steph Curry, who took the crown of being the highest paid player in the NBA for the next 6 years running. And surprise, surprise, as per his current deal with the Golden State Warriors, Steph might just continue being the highest paid NBA player up until the end of the 2025-26 season. And if you think these numbers are just a reflection of the times and the age at which LeBron James signed his contracts, allow us to take you through some numbers. If you look closely at the real value metric, which is a system developed by Alberto Del Roa of Hoops Hype, LeBron James comes in at the number 1 spot of the most underpaid NBA players list, in which he is shockingly underpaid in 16 seasons, as opposed to being overpaid in just 4, with a difference of a staggering $229 million, or 52.65% between his real value as opposed to his career earnings of over $430 million before the start of the 2023-24 season. LeBron James sits pretty at number 1 for the 2nd consecutive year of this list, with players like Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo following suit with 8 and 10 underpaid seasons respectively. And to explain how this metric works, Hoops Hype actually detailed it quite clearly. Using global rating system as the main performance metric, real value takes into account the productivity of each player from the last 3 seasons, giving extra value to the official NBA games played in the last 365 days. That includes regular season, play-in, and playoffs. With that base, we calculate how that would translate to the deserved average salary per year. Also factoring into real value, a player's age, availability, defensive performance, and off-court issues. For example, if a player gets admonished by his team due to detrimental conduct, it will be directly reflected in his value. Our NBA insider Michael Scotto will help us with direct insight from executives, coaches, and scouts around the league to make real value as accurate as possible. So, to put things into perspective so far, LeBron wasn't the highest paid player in the NBA during his 4 seasons with the Miami Heat, during which he won 2 NBA titles. He wasn't the highest paid player when he won the title with Cleveland in 2016, and he wasn't the highest paid player when he led the Lakers to the title in 2020 as well. And to add some further perspective, LeBron didn't even make it to the top 5, landing at a paltry number 7 spot in the 2020 rankings when he was leading the league in assists and his team to the title. But while we pile on more misery, here's a public service announcement to our viewers. Thank you for getting us to over 1,000 subscribers, and we're just shy of 2,000 at this point, so let's hit that number as soon as possible with your support. If you're liking this video and our content so far, make sure you click that like button and hit that subscribe button as well to join our growing community, and let us know in the comments if you feel that LeBron James deserved to be the highest paid player in the NBA for more than just 1 season. Alright, now back to the video. The frustration isn't new, by the way, because if you go all the way back to LeBron's Miami days, he himself had reportedly spoken to Brian Windhorst, a person who has followed LeBron like a shadow since his feet touched an NBA court. And LeBron reportedly admitted that he felt he was underpaid as a whole, despite sharing the crown of being the highest paid player in the Miami Heat roster, a spot he shared with Chris Bosh at the time.
I remember how that it came up about salaries. Somebody must have gotten a big salary somewhere. And I brought up to him that he had never actually been the highest paid player on his team. He was tied as the highest paid player with Chris Bosh, but he wasn't the highest paid player. And his head snapped around and he goes, "That's an untold story."
In addition to this, NPR did a whole episode trying to understand the financials behind LeBron James' deals, and during their conversation with Victor Matheson from Holy Cross University, they again reached the conclusion in 2018 that despite his mega money contract with the Lakers, LeBron was still underpaid by about $20 million. One of their reasonings stood on the hypothesis that LeBron James inevitably drives up ticket prices. And for someone who boosts the average attendance as well as the ticket prices for the team he plays for almost single-handedly, surely he deserves to be paid more despite an already gigantic contract in place for him and the other off-court earnings that he makes owed to his massive brand outside the world of the NBA. And not to forget his lifetime Nike deal and other business investments too. Forbes called LeBron James' situation as underpaid and overplayed, a chord that has struck with fans of the 4-time NBA champion and multiple other analysts who have, since LeBron's arrival in the NBA, taken into account the kind of impact he has on the league and giving it a truly international appeal, which is comparable to the ghost that he so unapologetically talked about chasing, Michael Jordan himself. And while LeBron has also mentioned quite explicitly that he'd be handsomely compensated if it was something like an MLB contract, it has also come down to an interesting take from The Atlantic, where the salary cap system makes James a supportive part of the system that doesn't allow just big teams to get all the big players. But here's how they discuss it. In short, LeBron James is right twice. First, he's right that he's underpaid in a salary-capped NBA. Second, in electing to sacrifice salary to play with other superstars, he understands exactly how much being underpaid in a salary-capped NBA can potentially pay off. And by that, it simply implies that LeBron James quite massively compensates for his below-par NBA salary earnings by earning massively from his endorsements and off-court ventures, solely because he plays for a brand as huge as the NBA. But do you agree with this hypothesis? That despite playing in the most prominent basketball league in the world, is it okay for LeBron to be underpaid? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And on that note, we finally come to the end of this video. Do hit the like button and smash that subscribe button as well to join our growing community as we push for more subscribers to continue entertaining you with more great content. Drop your season predictions in the comments too, and we will see you in the next one.